Hey guys, so I'm back. Well, not back, but I thought I would record a YouTube video because I've kind of went back and forth on whether or not I'm gonna film content for this channel just to have, stuff on my channel continuing to hopefully help people. I've not returned to coaching in any capacity, and I've thought maybe in the future I would do like solutions-based coaching, because I found that if we get stuck in constantly talking about the symptoms and how scary they are and how relentless they are, and I read this and I read this, it's not productive. So I think it's important to acknowledge, that you're hurting, but I think to continuously be pulling apart the same thing over and over and over doesn't help. And I've acknowledged many times that this is not a simple solution by any means. If it was, nobody would be in this predicament. And I understand that everybody's backgrounds and everybody's experience is different. So what I talk about on this channel is mostly from my experience and from patterns I've noticed in my discussions with other people, hundreds of other people, one-on-one. So the purpose of this video, or the topic of it, is, sorry, I'm walking, so might be a little bit of background noise and I'm a little bit out of breath because this is mostly uphill. But the topic is what is the number one thing that I think is helpful for people, no matter what your symptoms are. And this is just a very basic, what's one thing that you can do today, or what's one thing that you can focus on, and that is your reactions to the symptoms. Now, I know the symptoms are excruciating and they're like nothing you've ever experienced before. But I do think that based on all the information I've gathered on nervous system disorders and brain problems, is that the driving force of making them worse is fear. And that doesn't matter if the symptoms are physical, mental. The more that you're sort of driving and staying stuck in that fear cycle, the worse the symptoms are. Now, I fully acknowledge that the symptoms in and of themselves are horrible and terrifying. They are. But I think there is benefit in not constantly, and I'm talking for months and years on end, engaging in conversation where you are saying, my internal vibrations are gonna kill me, I can't stand it anymore, and spending endless hours on Reddit, on forums, talking about this. I don't think I've ever had a conversation with anyone that says, I was on a forum today and I feel really empowered. I feel really good about where I'm at. It's always, I was in discussion on a forum about this symptom, and either I didn't find anyone that has my exact manifestation, so now I believe there's something else wrong with me, or someone did have the exact representation that I do, and they've either gone MIA, so I can only assume the worst, or they answered my message and they say, yeah, I'm 8 years off and I still have it. So I'm not saying that disappearing from the forums is going to cure you. I think people misunderstand when I've said this. Even in my last video, I'm not saying that disengaging is going to magically fix all of your symptoms. But I do believe that the intensity of the symptoms can greatly be exacerbated by second fear. And I've done a lot of research into the mind-body groups, into all of the different mental health groups, neurological groups, different long chronic condition, poorly understood groups. And it's just this type of these fears and these beliefs that this is never going to get better, or this person had it and this was their outcome. It's never going to make you feel better. Not only that, but I think at my personal experience is when I've had the mentality of, because early on in my withdrawal, when I didn't understand it, it was horrible. Don't get me wrong. It was horrible. But I also didn't have that sort of second level mentality of there's nothing that can fix this. And I'm not saying that if you are unaware, then that means that all the treatments you try are going to work. But I think if you take it the other way, where you have these symptoms, they're already scaring you, the forms and the prognosis of some people is scaring you even more, plus you've now developed the belief that there's no way out. That's either going to drive you to complete despair or worsen the fear, which keeps the symptoms going at a really intense level. So really no good outcome. And that's why I've changed my beliefs over the years. I no longer say to people, well, now that you're injured, good luck. Like, your only hope is to avoid any pharmaceutical for the rest of your life, and then maybe you have a shot in hell. That's the way that I used to feel. But I've seen the devastating consequences of those beliefs. Plus, I have also seen people who finally are like, either they're forced into it by their families, or they just get sick of it and they're like, I'm going to try something. And they felt relief. And I'm not saying when I say try something that all that always means pharmaceuticals. Absolutely, I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying you should go back on psych drugs. But I'm saying that this type of conversation, I'm going up a steep hill now, tends to carry over in these groups from not just psych drugs, but all pharmaceuticals, all hormones, all supplements, and it's just not good. And I don't believe that it's true, because even if you are having reactions to many things now, which a lot of people are, that does not mean, and I've seen this, that that's going to be that way forever. And I think we need to stop with the black and white conversations around this in the groups. So the one thing that I would say, that's why I say, getting off the forums can help you the most with this, but also like choosing not to believe that A, this is forever, B, there's nothing that will help me, even a natural thing, C, that I will never be able to take anything for the rest of my life. Because I don't know how many conversations I've had with people, even who are starting to feel better, and they'll say, but I can never get sick, I can never have a baby, I can never go to anything with a crowd, I can never really enjoy anything because there's always a threat of it coming back. And I understand the traumatic component to this. Trust me, I understand it. I still deal with it to a degree, but I've chosen to not believe that this means that for the rest of my time on this earth, that I have to be afraid of everything, and I have to think in terms of this is going to last 10 years or more or forever, or I can't ever take anything ever again. Because I've seen the devastating outcomes of that type of thinking, and I'm not blaming anybody. We're extremely vulnerable, and I'm also not discounting the people who are in this long haul. But like I've said before, I have other chronic diseases, and here's a great example. I opened Facebook yesterday, and I'm in some diabetes groups, and I wasn't actively going in them. One post came up in my feed, and it didn't say how long they've been diabetic for, but they said they have an insulin pump and all of the equipment that is supposed to catch dangerous blood sugars. And this person was shopping and they could feel themselves like their alarms were going off, their sugar was dropping, they disconnected the insulin, they were going to treat the low blood sugar, which means you have to have fast acting carbohydrates quickly. But before they even, before they even had a chance to consume the sugar, they got tunnel vision, and the next thing they knew, they passed out, had a seizure, and woke up on a gurney. And then the warning was, you can never be too careful. This disease is relentless and insidious. It is permanent, without a doubt. Type 1 is permanent. So it's not even a debate. Type 1 is permanent. And so to know, for me, it's never going away. And I can take all the precautions necessary, still have a seizure, still die. And then I went and I read the comments, and then there, of course, there's people saying, well, I only ever have seizures in my sleep. And I only ever, it was just horror comment after horror comment. And it haunted me for the rest of the day. And that's with the disease that I've had for nearly 27 years and have accepted the permanency of it. But reading and hearing other people's experiences, that this can happen at any moment, it freaked me out. And diabetes isn't even fear-based or a nervous system-based problem. It's autoimmune. And just that one thing was like, it scared the crap out of me. And I was scared to go to sleep last night. So that's just one example of one exposure to information, someone else's experience with the same disease that I have. I've never had a seizure, but now I'm afraid of having one because it can come on in an instant. Because I always had the belief that, well, I have the systems in place for the alarms to go off to catch these things early so that doesn't happen. But this person is now saying, I did all the precautions and it still happened. So it's the same type of thing. You have your experience of withdrawal. The next person has the same type of problem, but it presents differently. Symptoms are slightly different. Your experience and their experience is not necessarily going to be the same. The prognosis is not necessarily the same. And so not feeding the fear and not buying into the belief that it's impossible, that this is going to kill me, that this is never going to get better. It just doesn't help. And so staying away from that type of environment is, I think, really, really important. Will it fix the problem? No. Will it prevent it from getting worse? There's a good chance. So that's one thing that you can do today. And as far as, so that's sort of a mental thing. As far as the body stuff, one thing that, well, here's, again, it's different for everybody, but there's deep breathing, I think, is really underestimated in this community. And I used to get so mad back before I ever experienced withdrawal, when I just had a chronic anxiety problem that I had gotten under control 90%, but it would still crop up every once in a while. And I remember a lady, super nice HR lady at my job, said, have you tried deep breathing? And I remember being like, lady, you have no idea what this type of, chronic 30-year anxiety experience is like. And I'm like, deep breathing doesn't do shit. But in my own experience and in talking to others, if you really focus on resonance breathing, which is the same number of breaths in as breaths out, so like 6 and 6, it's like a box breathing, or to stimulate the parasympathetic response, you should breathe out longer than you breathe in. So 6, breathe into the count of 6 through the nose and out through the mouth for a count of 8, can really calm the body down. And that can help the inner vibrations, it can help the tinnitus, it can help all of it. And none of this is a quick fix, none of this is a cure, but It's helping to manage the symptoms and have a quality of life until the symptoms dissipate on their own. And you do have to manage, because there is no magic bullet. You know, some people can go back on and get relief. Some people can't. Some people don't want to try, which I get it. And so how do you manage the symptoms? So not adding to the fear, huge. I mean, this is probably what I saw more than anything else in my coaching practice, was so many conversations around, this person told me this, and now I'm totally freaked out. And my diabetes example kind of illustrates that, even outside of the withdrawal experience, how much those things can scare you and paralyze you and reduce your quality of life. So I just wanted to share that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I still plan to make a video listing every coping skill I've ever seen and experienced, but I've got to put more work into that before I film it. So let me know your thoughts. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.